Welcome back. We are jumping right into the next run so we can catch back up after that unfortunate tech problem from the last run. We have got coming up next Lone Fungus, selfish ending with Sawayoshi. Take it away.
All right, hello. I am Sawayoshi. You might have seen me earlier in this event if you've been paying attention. But this time I'm here to run Lone Fungus Selfish Ending. So to explain what Lone Fungus is, this is a 2D pixel Metroidvania game where you go around the world, you pick up items, you get items, you beat bosses and stuff like that, the usual Metroidvania stuff. And we are actually doing the Metroidvania part this time. And in that, you can control this little cute character called Green Cap that we have on the main menu here. And this character is absolutely the most adorable thing ever. And so, Selfish Ending. Selfish Ending is the de facto any percent ending, where we just get a few abilities and then we nope the heck out and we do a couple tricks and beat the final boss, and that's about it. All right. And we did have, I believe we did have a incentive for this run, Dane.
We did. We had the custom texture showcase incentive, which was actually overkilled. We had $172 out of 100 for the goal. So thank you all so much. We are getting the custom textures.
Absolutely amazing. So this game has a very robust skin choice texture choice system where you can choose your own skin. You have the default, you have a few of these that are unlocked, you have a specific speedrunning one, and then you have some tie-ins with other games, specifically this one from a developer friend, Mr. Morris, who made Haiku the Robot. Today we'll be using this modded one, which is suspiciously gone from the previews, and you'll see exactly what it is as soon as we get started. I will be playing on Explorer, which is the lowest difficulty. It gives a little bit more health and is a bit more lenient on deaths, so we'll be using that. Time starts as soon as I select Explorer, time ends on the last hit on the final boss, and I think we're gonna get started on the count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Of course, as in every speedrun, there is a cutscene at the start that we skip, and would you look at that, we are this cute little thing that we at Power Up With Pride like to call Mushy. I adore this skin. I made it a little while ago just for this event, and I like it. So, starting off, we have a few things we can do, which is moving around and jumping, and that's about it. We don't even have an attack, we don't have a dash or anything. But here, first we get our first ability, we get the Pine Sword, which lets us attack to the sides and downwards. We do not have the ability to attack upwards because our mushroom cap is too big. So we're going to be heading over to the left here now that we got that. We've done a couple of save and quits already. These put us back to our last shrine, our last save point, which is useful in a lot of places. After bosses, your save gets set to right at the boss arena, so after bosses we'll usually just be walking back instead, but in the beginning we'll see a few of these save quits. And already we're coming up on the next ability once we get up here. So you see me use this Pine Sword to hit downwards. Hitting downwards sends you upwards. A pogo, like you might know from Hollow Knight. Gonna be using lots of those this run. And actually, before the first boss, it's a required move. And what you just saw was the shield cap, which gives us the ability to parry. And I'll be using that quite a bit here early on. and throughout the run. Gives us the ability to parry enemies, any enemy attack, as well as the ability to shoot projectiles that were hit at you back at a diagonal upwards in front of you. And we'll be using that a while later. But we're already on to our first boss. Here we have the warrior statue. We have dialogue, we're gonna skip that. The trick here is to just get up above them and keep pogoing. And that's the boss fight done. And that gives us the ability Mush Mover Infusion. What this does is it infuses these little background objects with mushroom juice, which I made up that name 5 seconds ago. It lets us hit these weak mush movers, these round little things, to get a little boost. We can get a little boost upwards off of them, and these arrows, these arrow mush movers, if I can actually get up here real quick, boost you in that direction, which is also very cool, and also very speedrunning. It gives you a lot of speed. Flying back up through Deep Grotto, the first area in the game. Let's talk about the speedrun history of this game, because the speedrun history for this game is kind of new, because this game just came out around 2 months ago. It came out 2 months ago, and we've already have runs of this game. This is, I believe, the second run of this game in an event already, and we have 2 more lined up. But so the speedrun community for this game is pretty proactive in getting it in events, which is pretty cool. At first, it was thought that a separate ending was faster, but turns out just noping out and beating the boss is faster than noping out without a boss and with a few more abilities. Alright. So I said the parry is really good. For fights, this is where that comes into play. If we can get the right cycle, we have Magus statue, and we going for 1 cycle here. And it looks like we might get it. No, we missed the parries. All good. So if we can get parries up there, up at the top of the screen, then we can do that to get a 1 cycle. If not, we can get a 2 cycle backup pretty solidly. And this gives us the Conjure Mush Mover ability, which lets us spawn our own little mush mover for our own little personal use. And we can turn around and then cast it to give us a little boost backwards. And we'll be using this as our main movement, main speed tech for now. We have a few words to say. Now might be a good time to do them. We have a little bit of walking to do.
Absolutely. We got a $25 donation in from CO2 that says, "What a fun guy." Thank you very much for that donation. And just to remind everybody, we are raising money for the Trevor Project. The Trevor Project is the leading national organization providing crisis intervention and suicide prevention services to lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and questioning youth. You can check them out at www.thetrevorproject.org to access their services, find out more about their impact, or to donate. And remember that we are still collecting donations. We still have incentives that have not been met yet. You have a few bid wars coming up pretty soon, including for the next run, which is the Dance Dance Revolution Mario mix, to choose Mario or Luigi.
Absolutely, get those donations in. So while that was going on, we made it into the next area, Color Caverns. A bit more brownish, a bit more greenish than the last area, a little bit less rocky. A lot more plant life here than in the previous area. And we'll be coming back to Color Caverns a few times this run. And we saw 1 split second some shady character that just tries to scan us and leaves we'll talk about that later. On to our first very RNG boss fight in this run. Queen Evil Eye. What you want is a attack pattern that you can just pogo her up top like this, because that's the most consistent way to get quick damage. And if not, you can settle for some parries instead, though we're not really getting much of those either. And you see this blue bar in the top left, you can actually use those to heal. And we'll be using those for some other things later on that will be mentioned as they come up. Alright. Let me not die to this boss here real quick. Alright. Get a few pogos and that should be the fight. Yep. Defeating Queen Evil Eye gives us an ability that will be very, very useful in the rest of this run. We get the forward dash, which just lets us dash forwards. Always good to be able to dash in a speedrun. It gives us a new movement ability. It gives us more speed. It gives us the ability to do a couple of things that we couldn't do before, though those aren't as important as the speed it gives us and the access it gives us to this area, Mechanical Fort. A lot more machinery, a lot more of these little block monster enemies. And all of a sudden we're already at the next boss, Master Block Monster. Very fast-paced. What we do here, we want 2 sword hits, then we just shoot these orbs back. And that should be it. Nice! That is a perfect block monster fight. Alright. And that gives us our first spell, the bouncy ball spell. So what this spell does is, it's a bouncy ball. You saw in that fight, we shot back bouncy balls at block monster. It's basically those, but as a spell instead of an environmental object. It does 7 sword hits worth of damage, which is very, very good. And we'll be using that as our main damage source from here on out. We also took a little detour to pick up the Mind Slash relic. That gives us more MP, this blue stuff in the top here, for each sword slash that hits an enemy. And that's just good for safety, and it makes fights a bit faster. Into another boss fight, Screw King, where their vulnerable point is only vulnerable once, and then they attack. But we have this little thing called Bouncy Ball, which does 70 damage instead of 10. So we can get Screw King hit with that Bouncy Ball twice, and that's the end of the fight. As opposed to needing 10 cycles, we only need 2. Heading back through caverns, back to this gold shrine, equip a Mind Slash, and we're going to teleport back to these gold shrines. You can teleport between gold shrines. And back up to Color Caverns. Alright. We have a little bit more walking to do if we have anything else to say real quick.
Yeah, just want to remind everybody, we do have the bid wars that are we're still collecting for, and also the next the full-on incentive that we have not yet met is the Get the Hero the Surprise Dinner for Quest for Glory 5 Dragonfire. It is a 5-minute estimate to add on right to the end of the run. We are looking for $300 for the goal, and we are currently at $39. We got a little ways to go, but you can do it, chat. I believe in you.
Can do it, but in this run left, we don't have much time. This is a 20-minute estimate, and we're probably going to be pretty quick under that. Did a little skip real quick there into Corrupted Tunnels. A lot more purpley, a lot more poisony. There isn't any poison in the area, luckily, but it looks like there might be. Here we do a lot of these mush mover jumps, which gives us a tiny bit of a bit more upwards momentum and a bit more height. And we see this purple sludge, which luckily is not poison. And climb up here, do a little skip with the mush mover. Skips an ability that we don't quite have yet, and we won't be getting in this run. Since a minute ago, we've just been rushing to the end of the game, and we're almost there. As soon as we can get past those spikes. So now you see a little trick called SCPs, spell cancel pogos. What that is you... Let me do this real quick. Spell cancel pogos, where you cast a mush mover, you conjure a mush mover, pogo it twice, swap spells twice to despawn it, and then swap back to mush mover, and then spawn it again. So this is 1 pogo and then 4 inputs in a row in a very tight span, which is not quite easy at least until we get used to it. And this skips a check here for around 15 items that we don't quite have yet, so it's a bit faster. And already we're up to the final boss. We have the Watcher here, who we saw earlier in Color Caverns. And we're going to be, again, using the bouncy ball here as our main damage. And we'll be throwing a couple parries in every once in a while. The game has crashed. Give me a second. Okay, that is not what I expected to happen. Alright, we can get a little connecting here real quick. I don't know where this is going to put me, but I'm pretty sure. Alright. Alright, we're back. Okay, it does put me here. Alright, all good. So you get to see the entire climb back up to the surface once more. And maybe we can talk a little bit more about the game. That's not what I wanted to do. All good. So this game, you might think, oh, there's only a forward slash. That's a little boring. Well, good for you. News for you. There is a lot more buttons in this game. This game is just buttons galore, abilities galore, and the more you play it, the more insane, crazy things that you realize you can do, like hitting a spell, which I've been doing with the bouncy ball. There's a lot of things in this game. And once you get enough abilities, dash, and then there's a spin, there's a little thing called spin slash. There's also a great spin slash, and those are really good for combat. Then you have things like ground bounce, which just zoom you forwards, and you just get a game that's a speedrunner stream, where you just press buttons and everything does something, and everything does something that's useful. And it's just a great time. And if you want to see more of that kind of stuff, True Ending has exactly that sort of thing. Which we actually have 2 runners from the Lone Fungus community that are running those running True Ending in events in the next upcoming month-ish, of which one of them is yours truly. Be sure to check those out as well. That's not what I wanted to do. And we're back to this climb, the SCP climb. So I believe of the items that we don't have, what the game wants us to have here is spin. It definitely wants us to have spin. It wants spin bounce. It wants ground bounce. I think it wants wall bounce. It needs a lot more things than we have, but you know, we can do. What do we need when we have SCPs? And all of a sudden back to the surface once more. Back to the Watcher fight. There's one specific attack that we don't want the Watcher to do. Actually, there's one that I like to call the Spinny Laser, which is a spinny laser. Hopefully I won't have to explain it, but if I do, we'll see that happen. These teleports, you can get a couple parries off. Again, those projectiles you can parry for a little bit extra damage. And this is the spinny laser. You just can't do anything really except for dodge, which is not exactly ideal when you're trying to do damage quickly, because it's a speedrun. Alright, you should be one hit away, and that is the Watcher down, but the fight isn't quite over yet. We do have one last thing to do. We have the Dark Cap fight. Time stops on the last hit to Dark Cap, which will be for a little while longer. Alright. Again, like most boss fights in this category, the goal is to just hit a bunch of these spores. These bouncy balls, rather. And for that, you want a lot of MP and a lot of things. And you need to use that MP in a smart way, because that MP is also your healing gauge. So you do need to do damage, but you also need to be careful of your HP, because if that hits 0, you're just done. Alright. 3 health here, this should be okay. Unless the game decides to lag like that. Alright. Alright, pretty close here though. Alright, just a little bit more. We have like one more bouncy ball to go. Very close to dead, but let me see. And yeah, that is time.
Jeez.
That's certainly a run. And honestly, I'm happy with this for how the game crashed once in the middle of it. But, you know, what can you do about that?
Any shoutouts you want to give?
Yeah, absolutely. Shoutouts to, first off, flashing lights warning for this little cutscene here. A little bit of flashing lights. Shoutouts to the entire Lone Fungus speedrunning community. Very active. Lots of people running this game, labbing it, learning things about it, and making do with the in-game timer, which is certainly a time, but, you know, what can you do? And also, huge shoutouts to Quacksilver, the SRC moderator for this game, and the absolute forerunner in terms of Lone Fungus speedrunning. None of this would be possible without her. And yeah, that for shoutouts, that's about it. Quick little thing at the end. I do stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/sawayoshi. This game, Hollow Knight, a lot of other games, mainly indies. Come watch, drop a follow if you enjoy that sort of content. And that's, I think, about it. I'll throw it back over.
Alrighty, well, thank you very much for that. Awesome run of Lone Fungus. It was a lot of fun to watch. Love Metroidvanias. They're super cool to see speedruns of. So thank you very much for that. We are going to be taking a short break, and when we come back, we'll be leaving you in the wonderful hands of Ellen Motas, who will be taking over the hosting desk. That is it for me here on the hosting desk at Power Up with Pride 2023. Thank you all so much for letting me sit here at the hosting desk and read your very generous donations. Keep donating. We are not done yet. We still got a bunch more marathon, and we are raising funds for the Trevor Project, a wonderful organization that deserves all the help you can give them. So please get your donations in, keep them going. Enjoy the rest of Power Up with Pride 2023. Take care.